Readers, second grade readers, you are growing as a second grade reader. Now that you're in second grade, you're growing like beanstalks. Now, not only do you get to decide what you want to read, you get to decide how to read what you want to read. Sometimes you can decide that you want to read your book in a funny voice, or in a very serious voice, or a scary voice. You can decide how you want to read your book. You can also decide how to read chapters in your book too. For example, in our book, Katie Woo No More Teasing, we want to read the first chapter. We decided to read it in a mean voice because Roddy's being mean, and in a sad voice because we know Katie's sad a lot in there. And then we decided to read chapter 3 in a happy voice because that's when the teasing stops. You get to decide. You are second graders. One good time to decide is when you're taking a sneak peek. Let's get started. Let's take our sneak peek of the book we're going to read. Let's do our title. Look at our title, look at the picture. I'm already laughing at it. It's called Those Darn Squirrels. And there's a man who's shaking his fist. And there's like a little bird on top of his head doing the same thing. I'm noticing some squirrels over here. Looks like they're eating something. Birdseed? This book is by Adam Rubin. Okay, let's take a look at the back. Here's the back blurb. Okay, let's read and think. Those darn squirrels. Old Man Fuquire is a grump. The only thing he really likes is painting pictures of the birds that visit his old man house near the forest. When the time comes for the birds to fly south for the winter, Old Man Fuquire hatches a plan to keep them close by. He builds bird feeders and fills them with yummy seeds and berries in the hopes that his beautiful birds will stick around. Okay, so he loves birds. He builds bird feeders, and this is what he wants. He wants them to stay around. Okay, let's see if they tell us the problem here. But there are other hungry creatures in the nearby forest, and they have plans too. This is a story of what happens when a grumpy old man and some mischievous squirrels match wits with hilarious results. Okay, here's the problem. The squirrels are going to eat the food that Old Man Fuquire put out for the birds. Let's see how he's going to solve the problem in this book. So we did our front cover, we read our back blurb. Let's see if there's a table of contents. Oh, there's not. It has these cool pictures, and then it starts on our first page. Okay, let's decide how we want to read this book right now. I already have an idea in my head. Think about how you would want to read this book. I want to read this book with a funny voice a lot of the times. It looks like a very funny book. It even says there's mischievous squirrels that are going to cause trouble. It looks funny. I'm going to use a funny voice. That's how I'm going to decide to read a lot of this book. Let's get started. Oh, these must be some pictures that Old Man Fuquire is painting of the birds that he loves. On the outskirts of town, at the edge of the forest, there was an old house. The only thing older than the little house was the man who lived in it, Old Man Fuquire. Okay, I gotta remember to do my funny voice. Okay, let's see. Oops, here we go. Old Man Fuquire was so old that when he sneezed, dust came out. He was also a grump. He hated pie. He hated puppies. The only thing he liked was birds. All summer long, the old man painted pictures of the birds that visited his backyard. There were whirly birds and bonga birds, baba birds and yaba birds. Even a rare flugel bird came by once or twice. Fuquare's paintings weren't very good, but the birds never said anything. When the air turned crisp and the leaves began to change color, the old man grew sad. He knew that soon the birds would fly south for the winter, as they did every year, and that he would be lonely. Then he had an idea. If he fed the birds, maybe they would stick around. So Old Man Fuquare built beautiful bird feeders and put them up all around his backyard. He filled the feeders with delicious seeds and berries, and soon the birds came from all over the forest just to eat in the old man's yard. Look at this bird. Ah! Well, there's the bird we saw on the front cover. Oh, I already see the problem happening. Check this page out. But the birds weren't the only ones who liked the bird feeders. The squirrels did too. Not many people know this, but squirrels are the cleverest of all the woodland creatures. In fact, they're fuzzy little geniuses. They can make a house out of a tree, a bed out of a bunch of leaves, and a box kite out of twigs, dirt, and squirrel spit. They are also excellent at math. Winter was fast approaching. Oh, and that's when the birds fly south. And the squirrels needed to gather as much food as they could to get ready. So they decided to take some of the bird food. Look at this one. Oh, here's Old Man Fuquare. Here's what he's doing. Okay. The birds were not happy. Neither was Old Man Fuquare. When he discovered what had happened, he shook his old man fist and yelled, "Those darn squirrels!" Let's see what he does. He filled up the feeders again, but this time he hung them from a clothesline. Then he went back inside, confident that the squirrels would no longer be able to get to the seeds and berries. But the squirrels were determined. They devised a plan, and this time they took all the food from the bird feeders. Whoa, look at what they're doing. I would call these characters very clever and sneaky. Oh, but I can tell by the expression on his face how Old Man Fuquare is feeling. Mad. The birds were furious. "Harumph! Harumph!" yelled a bonga bird. "Those darn squirrels!" yelled Old Man Fuquare. "Yum," said the squirrels. Oh, the birds and Old Man Fuquare are feeling mad. They're in the red zone. And look at the squirrels. They're sitting on the branches or laying on the branches of the tree with their tummies all full of bird seed. Check out this page. I want to show you the whole thing. Wow. Look at all the details in this picture. It looks like Old Man Fuquare is doing something to solve the problem. Now it was Old Man Fuquare's turn to devise a plan. He went to the general store to get supplies. He bought lasers and clamps. He bought wires and springs. He bought all sorts of tools and built a veritable fortress around his bird feeders. Then he refilled them very carefully. "Na, na, na, na," snorted the flugel bird. Now look at this page. I love the pictures in this book from the illustrator. It looks like the squirrels have a plan themselves, too. I'll keep trying to remember to read in my funny voice. The squirrels stayed up all night working out their strategy. They drank cherry cola and ate salt and vinegar chips to help them stay awake. Finally, they had it, the perfect plan. They put up their tiny helmets and prepared to launch themselves into the air over the fence between the lasers and onto the bird feeders. See their plan? The first squirrel misfired and hit a tree. The second squirrel went too high and landed in a bucket. The third squirrel sailed clear over the house. The birds laughed and laughed. They each had one last delicious mouthful of seeds and berries from the old man's feeders. Then they flew south for the winter, just as they did every year. Bzz, bzz, said a flugel bird. Let me show you the picture. You can tell how old man Fuquire is thinking. Think about how he's feeling. The birds just flew south. After the birds left, old man Fuquire was lonely, just as he was every year. He fixed himself some cottage cheese and pepper, his favorite snack, but he was still lonely. When he looked out the window, the squirrels could tell that he wasn't happy. "Go away," shouted the old man. "I don't like you squirrels." The squirrels held a meeting deep inside a large tree. They decided to give the old man a present to make up for taking the seeds and berries. Squirrel meeting tonight. This is making me have ideas about the squirrels. They're having a meeting. I wonder what they're going to decide to do. Now, not many people know this, but squirrels are not only fuzzy little geniuses, they also collect just about anything they find on the ground. These squirrels had a vast stockpile of spectacular junk to choose from. But what would Fuquire like? Bottle caps? Popsicle sticks? Postage stamps? Finally, they had it. The perfect gift. The squirrels stacked all their loose change on old man Fuquire's doorstep. There were dimes and pennies, there were nickels and quarters. There were even a few tokens from Coco's arcade. It all added up to $47.36, plus a few rounds of skeet ball. "Maybe you squirrels aren't so bad," Fuquire said when he found the coins. "But I still like birds better." This gave the squirrels another idea. They raided their junk collection again and got to work. This makes me think that the squirrels are nice characters and they're changing how they're feeling and they're doing something nice for him. When old man Fuquire woke up the next morning, he was amazed to see that the birds had returned. Wait, the birds are returning? Okay, let's see. But wait, those things weren't birds. They were squirrels in disguise. "Great googly moogly," said old man Fuquire. "This will make quite a painting." He ran outside and took down the lasers and the wires and the spring-loaded trapeze. He turned all the bird feeders into squirrel feeders, and then he painted till his brush ran out of bristles. Wow, look at all that. The squirrels were overjoyed. They had a party in old man Fuquire's house. "Those darn squirrels," said Fuquire, and he shook his old man fist and smiled. He has a different feeling now about the squirrels. His feeling changed in the book, and so did the squirrels. Keep deciding how to read your books that you're reading. Keep taking a sneak peek also. We'll keep practicing.